First with breaking news. First with new information. Plus, your first alert forecast. 19 News starts now.
Well, this is something you don't see every day. Wild video, a police chase caught on camera. That is a van being chased right through a golf course. A man wanted for attempted murder, now behind bars. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Brian Duffy. Thanks for joining us first at 4 and on 19 News Plus.
And I'm Nicole Versansky. So that suspect is accused of stabbing his girlfriend more than a dozen times. He then led troopers on two wild chases across Summit County.
That's right. First at 4, Brittany Weir live in Stowe to break this all down. A lot of moving parts here, Brittany.
Brian and Nicole, yes, neighbors here still in shock, but I want to show you these tire marks right here in the grass. They go up onto the sidewalk and then end right here in this front yard. This is exactly where that hours-long and violent chase finally came to an end at the corner of Saybrook Boulevard and Bunker Lane, again, in this quiet neighborhood. But the whole thing, it all started in Canton when a woman was stabbed 15 times and left fighting for her life.
I need an ambulance. My daughter, she was stabbed. She needs help.
This is the 911 call that Canton police received Tuesday morning. A frantic mother saying her daughter had been stabbed.
She just came in, her boyfriend had an argument. She got a knife sticking out of her.
She has a knife sticking out her?
Yes.
Police say Julius Edwards stabbed his girlfriend more than a dozen times inside a home on 15th Street Southwest in Canton. Then he vanished. The victim was rushed to Altman Hospital, but Edwards was gone.
Where's Julius at?
I don't know.
Hours later, troopers spotted his car and tried to pull him over, but he ran, blowing through a red light, causing a serious crash, firing at a trooper, and then carjacking a minivan for a second chase through a busy golf course. This video shows the chaotic scene.
By the time I got outside, everything was already crazy at the corner. Like, the car was already flipped.
This video here shows where the chase ended, right on the corner of Saybrook Boulevard and Bunker Lane near Danielle Duda's house, when Edwards slammed into a parked cruiser, sending it rolling. Duda says she's thankful that no one was hurt.
The red house always has a bunch of kids like playing outside, riding their bikes and their scooters, and it's just kind of a gathering spot.
Edwards was taken into custody and he now faces several charges, including attempted murder. And the victim was taken to Altman Hospital. We have reached out to her family for an update on her condition, but we have not yet heard back. Ohio State Highway Patrol says this is still an active investigation. In Stowe, Brittany Weir, 19 News.
Brittany, thank you. And 19 News with team coverage on this just wild pursuit. And again, you're looking at that video of police chasing the suspect in that minivan right across the golf course as people were playing. We're going to have a closer look at the damage to the course.
Now your 19 First Alert forecast. Certified most accurate since 2004.
Well, for folks that made some beach plans today, it was a good day to do so. We had temperatures that are quite seasonable for where we should be for this time of the year, and still relatively lower humidity, though that will continue to build in here over the course of, I would say, the next 24 to 36 hours or so as we wait for our next bigger storm system to roll in. But not much in the way of cloud cover. Lots of sunshine. That's kind of the next big thing that we're going to be watching headed into tonight as our sky stays dry and we really don't return to a better opportunity for rain until we go through the day tomorrow. Then we'll start to see some scattered activity bubbling up. This all precedes Friday's more widespread chance for some showers and some rumbles across our area before cooler air starts to settle in for the weekend. We'll talk a little bit more about your weekend forecast coming up here in just a little bit.
19 News following a developing story now. A Tennessee mother is dead. Her body was found right here in the city of Cleveland. Now her friends and family are really desperate to find out what happened. And it looks like this may have all started with a video game. Catherine Huntley joins us live with the story. Catherine, what have you learned?
Yeah, I spoke to a friend of Amber Graham. She's that 37-year-old mother who was tragically found dead in Cleveland last week. Now, that friend tells me she planned to travel to Cleveland to meet a man she'd been speaking to through a popular video game. She also planned to bring along with her her 8-year-old daughter. But when she stopped responding to messages, her family and friends scrambled to find them. This is 37-year-old Amber Graham of Spring Hill, Tennessee. She was found dead here outside this home on Bosworth Road last Friday.
She's just a genuine person, and and she's like a good person. She's the kind of person who will care for you without much reason to do so.
Joshua LaCroix lives in Tennessee. He and his wife were Amber's friends. She had told them she was planning this trip to Cleveland to meet a man she had been speaking to through a video game. During the trip, Graham called LaCroix and his wife. He says he heard a man angry with her in the background.
And that was the last conversation that me and my wife had with her.
They kept trying to get a hold of Amber, but she stopped responding. When she didn't show up for work, they started searching.
She never misses a shift. No one can reach her. Last thing we know, she was in Cleveland, so something's not right. She's supposed to be here at work, and she's not.
LaCroix said on July 1st, they heard her 8-year-old daughter walked into a Cleveland fire station alone. Officials wouldn't confirm the relation to Amber Graham, but did tell me an 8-year-old showed up at that fire station last week.
She was, like I said, they assessed her for any medical issues that she would have. She appeared uninjured, but she had a phone number in her pocket for her grandmother in Tennessee, is my understanding. But in that situation, we called police. They called Child Protective Services.
Amber Graham's family reported her missing on July 2nd to authorities. LaCroix reached out to a Cleveland Facebook page for help tracking down Graham. He said they quickly went to work and tracked down a home they believe she could have visited.
The police were able to get to the house and discover what they discovered.
On July 3rd, police and fire found Amber Graham dead outside this home covered in a sheet. The Cuyahoga County Medical Examiner is now investigating her cause of death. Now, no one has been arrested or charged in this case. Cleveland police tell me they are awaiting the medical examiner's ruling on cause of death before opening up a criminal investigation. In Cleveland, Catherine Huntley, 19 News.
Cleveland Public Library workers are voting on whether to authorize a strike. The union says after 8 months of bargaining and more than 30 negotiating sessions, there's still no contract. Members are pushing for higher wages and better working conditions. Voting runs through Sunday. We'll certainly keep track of the results. We'll update you on air and on 19 News Plus.
President Donald Trump says the ceasefire with Iran is, quote, over.
The president's comments come after the United States and Iran traded strikes overnight. Michael Yoshida reports.
I'll give him a little warning. We're going to hit them hard tonight.
Speaking Wednesday at the NATO summit in Turkey, President Donald Trump casting doubt on the status of ongoing talks in the ceasefire between the United States and Iran.
Can you clarify, does the end of the ceasefire mean that we are back to a full-scale military conflict?
They violate the agreement every day. They lie, they cheat.
The president's comments follow a night of back-and-forth strikes between the two countries. The U.S. Central Command saying its forces hit more than 80 targets after commercial ships were attacked near the Strait of Hormuz. The U.S. also reimposing sanctions on Iranian oil sales. Iran's military responding, launching its own missiles and drones at dozens of American military sites across Bahrain and Kuwait. Trump saying peace talks can continue, but are, quote, a waste of time.
It's going to be really hard to get negotiations back on track. We have seen it happen before, and we've seen J.D. Vance pulled into these talks to try and get things back on track. But it's going to be really hard with the actions that we just saw over the last 24 hours.
Wednesday morning, U.S. stocks fell and oil prices surged to the highest levels in 3 weeks as tanker traffic through the Strait of Hormuz slowed. President Trump threatening to renew a naval blockade, attack civilian infrastructure, and take over Iran's key oil hub, Karg Island.
He definitely wants to preserve that oil infrastructure because 90% of Iran's oil gets processed through Karg Island.
In Washington, I'm Michael Yoshida.
Well, as you heard, oil prices surged after reports of the U.S. and Iran exchanging fresh strikes. The global oil benchmark jumped to around $77 a barrel early Wednesday. West Texas crude, the American benchmark, spiked at $76 a barrel, but that fell back. So here's what's happening at the pump right now. The national average is around $3.80. We're paying $3.53. here in Ohio. As far as the market went, there really wasn't a whole lot of damage here. The S&P, despite the end of the ceasefire, did not react much either way. The S&P and NASDAQ pretty much flat. As a matter of fact, the NASDAQ was up today. The Dow dropped over 700 points early in trading and closed down just about 1%. All right, well, starting in October, if you are pulled over for some type of moving violation, you and your passengers too, better be ready to tell police exactly who you are.
19 Data journalist Dan DeRosa is here to explain House Bill 492. It was just signed into law by Governor DeWine.
And this had support on both sides of the aisle here. This is sort of to combat, and we've probably all seen this on social media. The officer will pull somebody over and they'll start rolling on their phone, and the officer will ask for their ID or their name, and they'll say, "I don't have to give that to you." Well, after Ohio Governor Mike DeWine signed this yesterday, you do now. Here's what's at stake. Here's what's going to be required. Drivers and passengers, you're going to have to provide your name, address, date of birth, and when it's requested when you are stopped. The failure to do so right away, you tell the officer, "I'm not telling you nothing, I'm not telling you my name, I'm not telling you where I live," bang, right away, that is a 4th-degree misdemeanor, which is pretty minor, but a maximum penalty is 30 days in jail. It also expands the offense of interfering with an arrest. It takes it to a 2nd-degree misdemeanor. That has a max of 90 days. Now, reached out to the ACLU of Ohio to see how they feel about this. Didn't hear back today. We'll keep on that. Here's one of the sponsors of the bill. She said, "Our law enforcement faces risk each day they put their uniform on and start their shift. Traffic stops, gun runs, and domestic violence calls are some of the most dangerous calls for our police." House Bill 492 provides our law enforcement with an extra tool in the toolbox as they work to keep our communities safe. Again, that's State Rep Cindy Abrams, a Republican from Harrison. The idea behind this is the officer needs to know who they're dealing with. Is this somebody that has a violent criminal past? Maybe they have a violent warrant out for their arrest and they're not going to go easy. That's why they need that name and date of birth of the people involved. Again, this will take effect in early October. I'm sure we'll remind you then too.
Okay, Dan, thank you. Caught on camera, the dramatic rescue of a driver caught in a burning car.
Out. What's your name, man?
The Osceola County Sheriff's Office in Michigan released body cam video. The Sheriff's Office says on July 4th, a deputy and others raced toward a burning vehicle with the driver trapped inside. Working together, they were able to get that driver out of that burning car.
Somebody get another fire extinguisher! You got one?
All right, thankfully everyone is okay. Unclear what caused the crash and then the subsequent fire.
The FDA is investigating an outbreak of infant botulism linked to baby formula. A 4th infant was hospitalized with a rare illness. Babies in California, Pennsylvania, and Washington got sick after drinking Nara Organics whole milk organic powder. The company voluntarily recalled the impacted formula. Botulism is caused by bacteria, and infants are especially vulnerable, but it is treatable if it's caught early.
So it usually starts with constipation, then weak suckling, poor feeding, floppy head, droopy eyelids. If a baby seems unusually limp or is struggling to breathe, you should call 911 right away.
NARA said on its website, with the health and safety of babies and families as our highest priority, we are saddened to hear an additional case for May has been added to the investigation.
Now your top 4 at 4, a house fire in Twinsburg, 3-alarm fire. It is now under control and under investigation. There were no injuries. That's Liberty Road in Twinsburg. It was shut down between Cannon and Post Roads to give firefighters room for equipment. You can see Macedonia Fire was there to help. We will update you with information as we learn more on air and on 19 News Plus.
We're also following reports of debris falling from the cement wall of the Detroit Bridge. The manager of a parking lot on Main Street, right below the bridge, says a car was damaged. ODOT says they were doing a routine inspection, found some loose concrete. In the process of removing that concrete, a piece fell onto that empty parking lot. ODOT says there were no cars or people in the parking lot at the time.
All right, Vinton County officials updated us on the horrific abuse case involving 16 children. 4 were arrested and charged, but we learned today Gary Siders Sr. was released on bond without having to post any cash after he fell on his way to his bond hearing. Now, tests showed that Siders Sr. had an undisclosed serious medical condition. Vinton County prosecutor William Archer said the medical costs could have bankrupted the county.
The Akron man accused of killing a mother and her 12-year-old son was back in court today. Brandon Costa's bond was continued at $3 million. He's not to make contact with the alleged victims' families. Police say he killed 47-year-old Tanya Mengual and her son Jericho. Their bodies were found crashed in a car in March. Both had been shot.
Latest now from New York, where a skyscraper near Grand Central Station was in danger of collapse.
So this is breaking news yesterday. Now we're told it's stable.
Reports of falling bricks and buckling beams inside the 37-story high-rise triggered mass evacuations of surrounding buildings overnight. Emergency crews worked quickly to install new steel to shore up weak points and prevent a potential disaster. The Department of Buildings Commissioner says the city is keeping a close eye on the high-rise while contractors work on long-term solutions.
We have monitoring positions set up outside and inside the building that's allowing us to track the situation, and if there is any movement or if we sense any movement, we have protocols in place to make sure we're quickly removing people.
Former Pfizer headquarters is currently being converted to apartments. Buildings developer says additional floors being added to the skyscraper caused those beams to bend.
Breaking at this hour, Israeli emergency crews rushed to a beauty salon in Jerusalem. 14 women suddenly showed signs of toxic poisoning. 9 were not in serious condition, but 5 were. All are now out of danger. Firefighters and paramedics evacuated the salon. They're investigating and they're still working to find the source of that poisoning.
Also breaking, wildfires are burning, in some cases out of control. A pre-evacuation notice was just lifted for some people in Colorado. It impacted Creek Canyon near Cheyenne Mountain in Colorado Springs. The El Paso County Sheriff's Office says they've received calls about large amounts of smoke as crews continue to battle the Rock Creek wildfire there.
Continuing coverage now of that wild police chase through a golf course in Stowe.
Jeez. Yeah, that's something else. The man chased down and arrested is accused of stabbing his girlfriend 15 times. That's according to a Canton police report that we have. We're working to find out if the victim is okay. Madison Green shows us the significant damage done to this golf course.
Julius Edwards led authorities on a chase across Summit County. Police say the man, wanted for a connection to an attempted murder, crashed onto Terex Road, then ran, shooting at officers. Authorities say Edwards then hijacked a minivan and drove onto the Fox Den golf course in Stowe.
I heard some sirens coming down the road over there, and I walked out to the road and I saw the guy come flying down the road, chased by about 25 various cop cars. And
Meade was working at Fox Den when the chaotic scene rolled onto the course.
And then he went flying across 10 tee box, 18 fairway, up between 9 tee box, and up the cart path on the 8th hole.
Meade says staff worked quickly to get golfers off the course and out of harm's way. Then they checked for damage. He says it was minimal.
Everybody was okay and everything was in shape. So we're playing golf this morning, so it's a good thing, right?
The pursuit on the golf course itself ended here on hole 6. Edwards led the police through the green and into the residential neighborhoods.
My friend called me from Hudson there, like I told you earlier, and I was like, well, that's weird. And then all of a sudden, here it was.
Duda saw the final stretch when police say the minivan hit a Metro police cruiser. Edwards tried to run again, but officers caught him.
I can't believe it happened here.
A Tuesday night, neighbors say they won't forget. In Stowe, Madison Green, 19 News.
Now your 19 First Alert forecast. Certified most accurate since 2004.
All right, we are tracking some showers and storms that will return as we get into tomorrow. Not much of a rain chance headed into today. That is the good news. You take that live look from our Madison camera and all you see is just deep blue skies. Humidity has been relatively lower, though we are going to see it build in a little bit more over the next couple of days. I would say it's kind of seasonable out there, right? Temperatures are into the middle 80s. That's where we should be for this time of the year. And you do have a touch of humidity. It is noticeable, but it is not nearly as stuffy as where we were last week. So next few hours pretty much staying quiet. We'll have a few clouds that drift in from time to time, but that increase in humidity very subtly tonight will hold overnight lows into the upper 60s to about lower 70s. Then we get into tomorrow. We're a little bit warmer, and that is going to help to fuel some scattered showers and storms. We'll walk you through the latest data coming up in a few.
Venezuela is still recovering after 2 earthquakes devastated that country 2 weeks ago. Today, City of Cleveland officials honored their communities with a gesture they've never done before. 19 News reporter Stephen Hernandez has our story.
At City Hall this afternoon, Venezuela's tricolored flag is flying high right alongside the Stars and Stripes. 2 weeks after the earthquakes in Venezuela, Cleveland is sending a first-of-its-kind message of solidarity that people like Robert Espinosa can feel.
Being one of the first Venezuelans to see this is something exciting and beautiful.
At least 3,000 people have died from the twin earthquakes that struck the coastal region of the country, with thousands more injured or missing.
I have family in Caracas, and they were able to feel the quake very strongly. I don't think Venezuela is in a good condition to live out this crisis.
Today's ceremony aimed to recognize that very loss through words from city officials, religious leaders, and through a moment of silence.
A flag is more than a fabric. It represents people's history, identity, hopes, and dreams.
While Ohio State Representative Sean Brennan also showed his support on behalf of Columbus.
When I heard about the devastation in Venezuela, what particularly broke my heart were the children. Please reach out if we can continue to be of help.
But the gesture is also a big message for the Venezuelans here in the city of Cleveland, that they're being heard and that they matter.
You are seen, you are valued, and you are not alone.
In Cleveland, Stephen Hernandez, 19 News.
A 19-year-old was rushed to the hospital this morning after being shot. This was near Mayview and Broadview Road in Cleveland's Old Brooklyn neighborhood. The victim told officers he was walking in the area, had some cash in his hands. He said someone drove up and the victim ran off. He said he fell, and that's when someone shot him in the arm. There have been no arrests. The Portage County Sheriff says 2 routine traffic stops on Interstate 80 turned into a major drug bust. In one stop, a canine alert led deputies to about 1 pound of meth hidden in a back seat. In another, deputies found 5 pounds of meth under a passenger seat. These 3 people, all from Michigan and Pennsylvania, they now face felony drug trafficking charges. Cleveland's flock cameras will stay on for now.
Public Safety Committee voted to shut them off 3 weeks ago, but they've now reversed course this week. Keith Grant has been tracking City Hall their decision on flock cameras.
Flock cameras are small and box-shaped, capturing the license plate, color, make and model of every passing vehicle. Police say they are crucial to solving crimes. Critics say it hurts their privacy. Councilman Michael Polensek saying Tuesday's vote accommodates both.
We're trying to come up with a system that supports our men and women in blue and addresses the violent crime in our neighborhoods. We believe this is a compromise.
Here are the details of that 5-2 vote. A 6-month extension at $125,000. That's half the time and half the money from the previous vote. It also restricts who can see your data, limiting access to Cleveland only so other cities or agencies can't search for you in a national database. The city compared crime data from before and after the cameras went up, which was in 2023. The council wanted to know if this money was worth it.
That after the introduction of the Flock ALPR system, that there was an increase in solve rate.
Flock says it's heard the concerns and is committed to working with the city on oversight. Flock know that's a group pushing to take the cameras down was not satisfied with Tuesday's vote.
It's really maddening to watch our electeds fall for this idea that you can meaningfully regulate this technology and meaningfully keep this data secure.
Brent Adams says even with these new restrictions, there's still a threat that Cleveland employees can misuse the data.
And our position is that the compromise is a fiction, that this data is still insecure, that this system is still prone to abuse, and that these amendments in particular are clearly just a stopgap.
This isn't over yet. The Flock cameras still have to make it through the Finance Committee before it goes to the full City Council, which its next meeting is July 15th. Keith Grant, 19 News.